صباح الخير للجميع. Good morning everybody and welcome to the webinar 5 and the career guidance. Today Mr. Gideon will explain to us the skills for understanding the world of work, part 1. He will explain in deep about the educational information and career information. We hope that you read the lecture's note about today's presentation, as we asked you before to be able to be active more and more with us during the presentation. As we agree with Mr. Gedeon, we will stop during the presentation to ask you if you have any question, any subject to be able to explain very well from Mr. Gedeon, or any idea you prefer or you will to tell us about. You know, the last two webinars were about tools and technique to promote self-understanding, and the last one, it was about the future of work and the changing role of public employment services. We hope today will be all more active with Mr. Gedeon to share with him and learn from him about today's presentation. Mr. Gedeon, the floor is yours. Please, you may start.
Thank you very much, George, and welcome once again, all of you, to my third session with you. Now, just before we started, George and I and Asma were wondering, how come you are all so quiet? Is it because we are online or what? So I think I would like to take 5 or 10 minutes now to ask each of you. I think we have 5 or 6 participants in our group today. Will you take a minute, please, to tell us your name, the country where you are working, and any particular point or question that you have about career guidance. Your name, your country, and any question that you might have. Shall we start with Mr. Duncan?
Mr. Duncan is an expert with us from ITC.
Okay, sorry. Okay, somebody else? Mr. Abdul Aziz? Abdul Hussein?
Please, if you would like to, you may speak in Arabic, no problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may speak in Arabic just to be active together. فيكم تحكوا بالعربي يعني بكل.
You can speak in Arabic if you wish so.
Your name, your country, and any idea or any question that you have about career guidance. Mr. Hussein? Yes, please.
We have Madam Ibtisam. She has the hands.
Yeah, please.
السلام عليكم. صباح الخير.
Good morning. Peace be upon you. Ibtisam Al-Sana from Saudi Arabia, Riyadh. Thank you. I have nothing to say now. I have no questions. Maybe during the presentation, I will have some. Great.
She said she has anything to ask or explain right now. Maybe during the session, she will be able to ask or share any other idea. Just she said she is from Kingdom Arabic of Saudi. Okay, and that's all. We welcome her, and we are waiting any other topic from the other participants. I think, Mr. Gideon, I prefer to start your presentation and
Okay.
let us give them time. So maybe during the presentation, they will be able to share with us any ideas. Okay.
Sure. So let me start now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
please keep in mind that at any time, if you want to have a question or a point that you want to share, please just interrupt. Don't feel bad about interrupting. Yeah. And as we go, I will break up the session into parts and pause if there are any questions for you to ask. All right. Okay. So let me bring up my presentation now. Okay. I hope you can see my slides. Right. So this is Mr. Yeah, thank you. Mr. George has been working with you for the last few sessions on the other side of employment, which is the public employment service and those institutions which are closely connected with workforce development, right? My work with you has been on how do we provide guidance? How do we help young people make their choices? And in my first session, we spoke a little bit about the history of work and about the different industrial revolutions and so on. In my last session, in my previous session, we spoke about the individual, the self, and how it is important that our clients are able to make a choice that that this is my talent, this is my ability, and make a choice, not just based upon what they hear and what other people tell them, but based upon what their own talents and their capabilities are. And then at the end, I shared with you a method that we have used quite extensively in different parts of the world on how we can actually help young people discover themselves. And that tool is called the Strengths and Accomplishments Questionnaire. I've given a copy of the Tunisian version of the questionnaire in your notes for last time. I hope you'll find it helpful to adapt to your own country. If you need help with adaptation and so on, we are always there to support you even after this course is over. Right now, the format that I'm following is that at the beginning of every webinar, I go back and look at the self-learning assignments that I had given for you in the previous seminar. So let's start with that now. A review of last time's assignments. Now, the first one was about the key themes of career guidance. And the first question that I had was, what are the key themes of career guidance? And we had 4 options, and the answer is B. Yes, the key themes of career guidance are self-understanding, understanding the world of work, development of career alternatives, and career preparation. So if as a counselor or as the state, you are wanting to implement a career guidance program for your students, then these elements must be there in the program. These 4 elements. The next question I had was John Holland is one of the most famous career guidance models that we have. We discussed this in detail and we looked at some of the advantages and disadvantages of it. So the Holland model led to the development of the self-directed search. The self-directed search is the most famous career guidance intervention developed by John Holland and his group. The next question was, what is the meaning of interest? By interest, do we mean the person's capabilities, the person's inborn qualities, the person's potentials? The answer here is activities that a person wishes to pursue further. One of the points we mentioned last time is an interest is a wish. Interest is something that I want. Interest is something that I like. Yeah? And helping a young person discover what his interests are is one of the important elements of career guidance. The second one is, now, which of these models, Holland model, Mayer-Briggs type, differential aptitude test, which of these takes a meta-cultural approach to understanding human potentials? Now, the reason this is important, meta-cultural approach is important for us to acknowledge, is that culture plays a very important, very powerful role in career choices. In certain cultures, certain careers are not expected for a boy to take or a girl to take. So we need to have a model which is above culture, which is common to all human beings. And the method that I introduced to you last time was the intelligences approach, the multiple intelligences approach. Moving on, we said, the next question was, which of the following is correct? Skill, the idea of skill and aptitude are the same thing. Interest and aptitude together yield skill. Potential and skill are the same thing. And the answer there is, a skill has to be learned. We are not born with a skill. Maybe we are born with an aptitude. Now, when we train that aptitude through a course, through a curriculum, through a program, that aptitude becomes a skill. The next questions I had were these match the following kind of questions, where we are trying to distinguish between interest and aptitude. Now, in many programs, the focus is on interest. In other programs, the focus is on aptitude. One of the things we saw last time was both are important, and our program needs to address both interest and aptitude. So let's quickly run through this. Activities that you're naturally good at, is that an interest or an aptitude? Any responses from our participants? What is the answer to this? Interest or aptitude? Activities that you're naturally good at would be an aptitude. Something that you have as a part of your makeup. Things that a person is curious about would be interest. Things that you're wanting to know about, things that you wish to know more about. Matters that you want to pursue further, matters that you want to follow further would be an interest. This is an important one. What is affected by external influences? By external, we mean my culture, my father, my mother, my brother, my friend. External influences influence our interests, right? Fifth one, activities for which you have a high capability, activities for which you have a high talent is aptitude. Activities that you can do well, activities that come easily to, activities that you can achieve easily is an aptitude, right? Moving on to the next section, activities that do not bore a person. That means you want to do it, you like doing it, you enjoy doing it, you don't get bored by it, means you are interested. Activities that you don't find difficult, it's easy for you. When you try an activity in that area, you can do it very well. That means you have an aptitude for it. Not affected by external influences. Yeah, this is the opposite of the previous question. An interest comes to us from outside. An aptitude comes to us from inside. It is who you are. Maybe you are born with that capability. Yeah. Activities that a person considers worthwhile would be interest. Activities at which you easily excel, that you do well in, is aptitude. Activities that pull your attention. You want to know more. You like knowing more about that. That would be an interest, right? Yeah. Moving on now to the third exercise, models and approaches. Yeah. Regularities and consistencies in a person's behavior are explained by the trait factor theory. These are some of the theories that we discussed and I spoke to you about last time. The trait factor theory tells us that there are qualities that a person has. It may be the quality of being good at mathematics. It may be the quality of being outgoing, friendly type. That is a trait. That is a characteristic. And this is the theory, the trait factor theory, that tells us about these patterns and these consistencies in our behavior. The Holland typological model classifies people and environments into types. If you remember from the last time, John Holland's model tells us that there are six types of people and 6 types of environments. And career guidance is finding the match between the environment and the person. Yeah. What is intelligence? Intelligence could be described as a broad mental capability. When you say somebody is intelligent, you mean that they can do an activity, any activity, they can do it very quickly, very efficient, very fast. That's a intelligence. But an aptitude refers to a natural or inherent talent for a specific activity. So we would say that somebody has a mechanical aptitude. That means his intelligence is such that he can do mechanical activities very well, or drawing activities, or designing activities. Then we saw that there was the quantitative approach to assessment and the qualitative approach. So in this question, the answer is the quantitative approach assumes that individuals possess a distinctive configuration of traits and characteristics. Yeah. And the opposite, the qualitative approach is non-numerical. Here, with item number 4, a quantitative approach has tests, has questionnaires, has right and wrong answers. At the end of it, the person gets a score, and that score tells us how high is the aptitude. In the qualitative approach, there are no numbers. It's non-numerical, and you get the data about the client by interviewing the client, talking to the client, observing the client in his or her classroom. Yeah. So this is a non-numerical approach. That's why it's called qualitative. Right? Then the last exercise was for you to start matching potential with career. Yeah, potential with career. So when we looked at the first one, the linguistic potential, in the list of careers that I had given to you, copywriter, lawyer, teacher, journalist are all people who need the linguistic potential. Right? The next one, we look at the analytical logical, physicist, scientist, computer scientist, accountant. These are people who require the analytical logical potential. You can see there's a big difference in these careers. These are all careers that require words. This is a very, very different from linguistic, isn't it? Physics, science, computer, accounts. What do these require? These require capability for numbers, for calculations, for analysis, for logical thinking. Third one that we looked at was another, again, completely different. It's not about words. It's not about numbers. It is about designing. The spatial potential. Examples are architects, cartoonists, graphic designers, fashion designers. So can you see this is completely different from this. This is completely different from this. Now, if a student who has a low spatial potential, but he has a high linguistic potential, if that person chooses architecture, he's going to find it difficult. If that person chooses lawyer, it might be better for him or her because it's pulling from the person's talent and capability. The fourth one, personal potential. Again, you can see different type of careers. Hotel manager, psychologist, social worker, everything that has to do with human beings and interacting with people. The last one, often we ignore this capability in people, their physical and mechanical capabilities. And examples over here are engineer, deep sea diver, carpenter, geologist, dancer, right? So these were the 5 different multiple potentials that I introduced you last time. And the exercise was for you to start seeing that certain potentials require certain kinds of talents. Right. Okay, we are moving on now to the second main theme in career guidance, which is understanding the world of work. Remember, these are the four: self, which is what we did last time. We're starting with the world of work today, and that's going to take us to 2 sessions today and in our next session. So let's start looking at what is the world of work and how does all of this fit into our career guidance programs, right? Okay, the world of work is the second theme in the career discovery path, and our learning intention, the learning outcomes here is that at the end of this module, if you look at the notes and you do the assignments, you should be able to describe the key features of the world of work. What is this world of work? You should be able to describe educational milestones in your country context. Very, very, very important when we're guiding people to make choices, and we will look at that now. You should be able to develop teaching learning material to help your target group learn about your educational milestones. Yeah. So let's start with that. Now, there are 2 kinds of information related to work. One is the information about the world of work and information about the labor market. Now, Mr. George has spent many sessions with you on this theme: skills matching, skills gap identification. All of this has to do with the labor market. Yeah. But information about the world of work, just for us to understand, I am making a distinction between labor market information and world of work information. I'm trying to say that they are different from each other. All right. So now, the world of work section in our model follows a primarily pedagogic coloring. What do I mean by pedagogic? When we are doing world of work activities with our clients, our target is to teach them who is a doctor, who is a nanotechnologist, what is the career path of a graphic designer. This is fixed information. It does not change very easily. Doctor 50 years ago had more or less the same tasks as the doctor of today, isn't it? But you will find when you work with your clients, they come to you with a career name in their mind: lawyer. But have they learned who is a lawyer? What are the tasks of a lawyer? And that's the side of the picture which I'm wanting to spend some time with you today discussing. Yeah? We are wanting career choosers to learn about career as a form of work, different kinds of careers, different kinds of career paths, different career trajectories. Some career paths are very long. If you want to become a clinical psychologist like me, for example, it's a long career path. High school, higher secondary, bachelor's degree, master's degree, postmaster's degree, then a PhD. But if it's an engineering type of a path, it's not so long. So young people need to learn this before they make the choice. Most importantly, we want them to become acquainted with the educational structure they are a part of and develop the skills to understand the various steps and stages to qualify for a specific career. In our first session, when we discussed what is a career, one of the characteristics of a career is that it requires formal qualification. Therefore, the career chooser needs to know, if this is my career target, if my career target is graphic art, for example, in my country, what is the educational path to become a graphic artist? I may have great talent already to be a graphic artist, but if I want a job, if I want to be paid, if I want to be promoted and grow in that profession, I must have a qualification, a certificate, a diploma, or a degree in that field. Yeah? Many, many times you will find that your client does not know what is this structure in your country. Yeah? Sometimes it's quite complicated, and part of career guidance is to educate, to teach about careers. All right, so let's go. So what is this difference? George has taught you about labor market, and you have a lot of information about it. I'm trying to introduce to you world of work information. So what is the difference between labor market information and world of work information? Career guidance activities, both are career guidance. Yes, leading a person into the labor market is career guidance. Teaching a young person about different jobs is also career guidance. But the main thing about labor market information, labor market related activities, career guidance activities, is that labor market is about jobs. It has an economic color. How much will I earn? What are the stages of development in the, what is the demand for this profession? Are there jobs related to graphic art? How many jobs are there in Kuwait with regard to graphic art? How many jobs are there in which branch of engineering? This is the labor market part, right? What we are focusing on today is the other side, which is, so labor market is the focus on actual jobs. And when we're training children and young people and our clients on labor market, we are actually preparing them to enter the labor market as a worker. I have entered into the mechanical engineering as my qualification. I'm soon going to finish. Now I am going to look for a job. I'm going to sell my certificates, my qualifications in a market. That market is called the labor market. Yeah, and that's one side of career guidance. So let me go on to the next slide. Okay, career guidance relating to the world of work is little different. Yeah, as I said earlier on, it has a pedagogic coloring. What do I mean by this when we say world of work information? Yeah. Now, when we take world of work information, this information is relatively static. As I said earlier on, doctor has been doctor for the last many, many years. Lawyer, the tasks of a lawyer, the duties of a lawyer, the amount of change in world of work information is very, very minimal. And I'll show you some material on that just. Still, we need to get our career choosers to understand, this is who a doctor is. And there are many stories I can tell you. For example, there was a girl who called after she had selected to become a medical doctor. She had Monday was the first day of her course. Friday, she called us in my office and said, I want career guidance. She's already made a choice. So I said, you know, it's too late for you to still be thinking which career you should be doing. Why don't you spend the weekend with your family doctor and learn about what you're going to do? So she went off. Monday morning, her parents are calling and calling my office. And finally, when we responded to them, she has not gone to college. She has told her parents, I don't want to be a medical doctor. Yeah. Then when I spoke to her, she told me, only when I spent time with my doctor, my family doctor, I realized who is a doctor. I realized that the doctor has to be available 24 hours. My doctor, middle of the night, his patient had a crisis. He had to get up and run to the hospital. Then my doctor, over the weekend, he was cleaning dirty wounds, diabetic sores. He deals with pain and suffering all day. My doctor, only thing he did was suffering people. I don't want to do that, she said. When did she say it? Much too late. Commitment has been made. Fees have been paid. Yeah. Luckily, this was a college where they refunded her fees, and then she didn't join to be a medical doctor. Life became very confusing for her. Finally, the following year, 1 year, all the admissions had closed. Next year, after she went through these exercises with us, world of work exercises, she felt that she should be a designer, and today she's one of the most well-known fashion designers of India. If she had known this earlier on, she wouldn't have made such a big mistake. So this is what I mean when I say we need to teach our young people about the world of work. So what a doctor, a lawyer, architect, or a teacher does not change so easily. The tasks of these careers remain almost the same for long periods of time. So we need to collect this information, make it available to students, and have activities and exercises through which they will start saying, this is who a lawyer is. This is who a fashion designer is. I imagine fashion designer to be something. Now, when I read it, I find it something else. So maybe it's not for me. Yeah. This is the point of the exercise. Yeah. Similarly, the courses and educational paths into a career change, but they change slowly. And I need to become familiar with what is the pathway that I have to follow in my country. Yeah. Going on the other hand, labor market information changes almost hourly. Today, there is a job to become a nurse in this hospital. Many people apply, and in 1 day or in 2 days, that job is gone. So a job that is available at a given moment on a labor market database can be filled up at any time, isn't it? Labor market information is much more dynamic, and therefore, something that I bring up, particularly when I'm talking to government officers, is that if you have a labor market database, it must be kept up to date. Your software, which is managing this, should remove job offers, not careers, job offers, which have been taken. So often I find a very sophisticated software has been developed, and there is an ad, let's say an ad for a automobile mechanic. Yes, it's there. Somebody has taken the job, but that advertisement is still there. So someone else who comes and says, I want to be an automobile mechanic, applies, and then finds out this is old history. Job is gone already. Yeah? So if we are looking at labor market information and the entire labor market information system, it has to be a very dynamic system that changes along with the changes in the real world. Yeah. So, as I said earlier on, our focus is on the educational part, the understanding the world of work part of it. Now, this has two parts. Okay? I'm not talking of labor market anymore. I'm talking about teaching children about the world of work, teaching our college students about the world of work. There are two themes we need to focus on. One is what I call career information, and the other is educational information. Yeah, our system of career guidance should have both of these in place. Yeah. Now, what does that mean? How do we do it? The term that I use here is career learning. Remember, I said earlier on that the task before us is to teach. The task before us is to help our clients learn about all the different careers that are possible for them. Now, this I refer to as career learning. What is career learning? The main objective of career guidance is another point, particularly for our kinds of countries, is after your career guidance work with your student, they must become self-sufficient for their career development. It's very impractical for us to say that we will have a career counselor available to a student for 5 years or 6 years on and on. Most often, our resources are very limited. In India, for example, in a big college, you would have, for 3,000 students, you would have one career counselor. Yeah, I don't know how it is in your countries, but we're never going to have enough, isn't it? So a target for us is to teach them career learning in such a way that after they finish with you, they can do it by themselves. Self-mediate their career development. Yeah? Or else the workload is too much for you. 3,000 children, 3,000 college students, or 3,000 people, 5 or 6, whatever it is, one person cannot handle. But what can we do? We can have workshops for the whole lot of them where they learn how they can manage by themselves. And this is that's what the focus is over. Our objective is not merely to match individuals. Yes, they may come to you for career guidance. They may go away saying, okay, I'll become a nanotechnologist. Yes, if they change their mind, or if something happens in the entrance exam for nanotechnology, they didn't get a seat. Yeah. Do they have to come back to you? because by now they've left your institution. Can they manage by themselves? Yeah. Instead, our objective is to teach our clients the skills of self-mediating the labor market. Self-mediating the labor market. This is in red, as you can see. It's not your life as a counselor. It is the student's life. If it's going to be successful, the responsibility is on the shoulders of the student or the career chooser. Yeah. You can be there to show the way, to give the skills, to provide the information. But I must take my responsibility to say, that is my dream. I am going to get there by myself. So part of our career guidance is to help them take responsibility for independently identifying and optimizing and benefiting from the opportunities that are there around them. How do we do this? Yeah, we're continuing on the theme of career guidance. Career learning means giving the career chooser a guiding framework, to get to know a career. Right? I've been saying for the last 15 minutes, we want them to learn who is a chartered accountant. We want them to learn who is a nurse. Then they've learned that, then they say, no, nursing I thought was great, but not for chartered accountant. Okay, this is who it is. So they make a reason, they make a thought out choice. For this, we can give them a very simple framework. Yeah, what is that framework? Yeah. One important point for us as we develop a program for our country, one important point is that we need to give them a career vocabulary. Now, what do I mean by career vocabulary? For example, the word career has almost no equivalent in our languages. In most Indian languages, we have words for work, job, occupation. We don't have a word for career. So one of the first things that I had to do for India and in other countries is, what is career? What is its meaning? Is there a word for career in your languages? Then it starts to click in their mind that they're not really looking only for a job. Remember in our first exercise we did that. They're looking to build a career. Now, what is this career? Similarly, other vocabularies, development, prosperity, pathway, duration. These are all key words in career development for which we need to give them language so that they are mentally prepared to take personal responsibility. Yeah. Okay. Now coming to this framework, teaching the career chooser to ask the following questions. In my model, there are 5 questions that we teach our students to ask to a career. Yeah, what do I mean by that? Question number 5, key question. Question number 1 is the career name. All careers have names. Now that name may vary. For the same occupation, the name may vary. For example, we may say there is air steward, air hostess, same profession, same job, different name. So what is the career name? All careers have formal names: actuary, graphic designer, mechanical engineer, nanotechnologist, and so on. Becoming familiar with these formal labels and career names is the first step of career learning. Yeah. What are you going to become? I'm going to become an actuary. What are you going to become? I'm going to become a lawyer. So there is a career name. So point number 1. Point number 2, this is where the important activity starts. All careers have definitions. Yeah. And what is a career definition? Knowing what a career is about. What is that career is a critical career learning exercise. What do we mean by, for example, if we take actuary, this is the formal definition of actuary. Yeah? An actuary is a business professional who calculates financial consequences of risk using mathematics, statistics, and financial theory to study uncertain future events, especially those of concern to insurance and pension programs. Now, this is a formal definition taken from the International Standard Classification of Occupations. It's an ILO document, which I will be working with you in our next session. Yeah. The definition is here. Our task would be to take this complicated definition and make it simple in the language of our clients. Yeah. So when a student reads this, maybe for the first time, he or she would say, okay, this is an actuary. This is what an actuary does. Yeah. So point number 2. Point number 3, career tasks. There is the definition. But all careers are made up of tasks and duties that specifically characterize that career and differentiate it from other careers. Now, this going back to the story of this girl who wanted to become a doctor. When I met her, she said, Uncle, what I realized was that my image of a doctor was very different. I thought doctor means wearing a stethoscope around my neck in a very nice white jacket, white apron, and going around the hospital and talking to patients. I didn't realize it is blood and dirt and all. Yeah? That's where the tasks come into play. Now, if you look at this, civil engineer, this again is from an ILO document. Who is this? What does a civil engineer do? What are the tasks of a civil engineer? Investigating a site, working with architects, producing detailed designs, planning and managing the supply of materials to the project site, testing of materials, working out engineering calculations. This is what you will do if you become a civil engineer. Do you want to do this? Do you have the talent for this? Investigating a site means civil engineering is by 90% outside. It's not an office job. You wear your helmet and you're outside in the open sunshine, in the rain or whatever. It's an outdoors job. It has to do with designing. Has to do with drawing. Yeah, it has to do with supply of materials. Those of us who have built houses, we know that great, wonderful design, but the cement is not coming on time. The steel is not coming on time. That's the job of the civil engineer with his team or her team to ensure that supply is there. Testing materials, you may get substandard materials. Somebody may say that this is the best quality cement, and you use it and the house cracks. So testing of material, a lot of calculation, lot of arithmetic in civil engineering. So helping our young people know that this is what I mean when I say career task. Now look at the next picture. Lawyer, completely different, isn't it? Here is investigating a site, outdoor work, etc. Lawyer, drafting legislation, knowing government regulations, knowing laws, giving advice, negotiating settlements, examining disputes, preparing cases for the court, representing the clients in court. Completely different. Unfortunately, many students make a decision based on the career name. I want to become a lawyer. I want to become an engineer. My friends are becoming engineers. My friends are becoming lawyers. Our duty in career counseling is to say, great, let's see who a lawyer is. Right? Question number 4. What is the talent that I need? Remember, we said potential in our previous session. We said potential is a blend of interest and aptitude. So different careers require different combinations of potentials. The civil engineer, whom we saw in the previous slide, requires mechanical talents and logical talents. Correct? The lawyer requires linguistic, language-related talents and analytical talents. So what is the potential required for a career? For example, an architect would require a combination of spatial and analytical logical. A psychologist doesn't require spatial so much. This person requires personal potential and logical potentials. Different combination. Yeah. Journalist, linguistic and personal. Yeah. So what is the potential? This is a training that we want to give to our students. What is the career name? What is the career definition? Tasks, potential required. Yeah. Last, the 5th one is what is the career path? A career requires a specific set of qualifications. Remember, qualifications is very key in modern career development. You may be very highly talented. When you apply for a job, first question is, show me your degrees, show me your qualifications. You can practice as a designer, you can practice whatever you are good at. Outside the formal market, 2/3 of the world today are not in the formal market. They do their gardening, their agriculture outside the market. They sell their produce directly to the client and they go. But when it's a career, when you're saying that you want to progress from a junior to a middle level to senior to vice president of the organization, etc., you need these, a degree or a diploma or a certificate. Now, the student needs to know that. Today, the thinking that we find very much in the contemporary generation is, I am good at this, I don't need qualifications. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. Today, the big thing, for example, when I speak to young people, what do you want to do? I want to become a YouTube influencer. It's a very fascinating thing, isn't it? YouTube influence. So they have a YouTube channel. They get thumbs up marks in their channel. Great, 1,000 likes, 50,000 likes, etc. But how are you going to convert this YouTube influencing into money? How are you going to convert this into income? Yeah, these are questions that we need to bring up with our young people. The career aspirant has to qualify as per the educational norms of his or her country. Yeah. Give you another example from India. There is a great craze in our country, in this country, to become medical doctors. There are only 90,000 seats in medical, all the medical colleges together. There are 90,000 seats. 17 lakh, 1.7 million students apply for the 90,000 seats. Yeah, obviously, many of them don't get it. So many of them go outside to study medicine because they are so desperate to study medicine. Yeah? So recently, a big crisis happened in last year. Many of the students who went to Ukraine, studying in different parts of the Ukraine, the war started, had to come back home. They barely managed to reach home. Some of them even died in the war, but nevertheless, they came. Now, the Ukrainian norms are not compatible with the Indian norms. So the Indian Medical Council of India looked at these 256 Indian Ukrainian students and said, sorry, you want to study medicine? Start from your first year in India. You see, every country has its educational norms. And at the very beginning, our clients need to know these are the rules and regulations of my country. Yeah. India today, there's a huge upheaval because we have a new education policy. So in the new education policy, the bachelor's degree has changed. It was 3 years till 2 months ago, it was 3 years. Now it's 4 years. Right? So children need to be educated about. So career path. Some require licensing. Which are the professions in your country that require license? In some countries, architect, chartered accountant, lawyer, medical doctor, of course, engineer, these need licenses. Without the license, you cannot call yourself by that name. Yeah? Others require compulsory apprenticeship. You may have studied, but before you are given the title, you should have worked under a master. In accountancy, for example, you need to work as an article clerk in accountancy, as an article clerk in a licensed accountant's office for 1 year. And that senior accountant has to sign a paper saying this student has done the articleship. Then only you can move forward. Yeah? So norms, licensing, helping a student become familiar with these milestones and these requirements is part of world of work side of it. Yeah. So these are 5 key units of information that must be made available to career choosers to form an accurate country-specific career information pack. It varies from country to country. Let me just show you. This is the India career information pack. Okay, it's a bag like this. It's also available on our website. But in the bag are all these cards. Okay, and if you take a card, if you take statistician, you can see we have career name, career definition, career path, this. So this information we have developed for this country. Similarly, I've developed this for many, many other countries. And this is a pack. This is a pack that's kept in the school, kept in the institution, depending on the level. If you're working at high school, you need all the information. If you're working at college, it may be less. But we need to develop this country-specific information pack. Yeah. This is a hard copy. We can also very easily turn this into a turn it into an app. Yeah. And the student may be able to then sort out and learn about careers using a pack like this. Yeah. So this is what I mean when I say career learning. All right. So we've spoken about career information, five main points under career information: career definition, career name, career tasks, career potentials, and the path, the career path. Yeah. And we're going to go on now to look at educational information. But before we go on, let me pause here, as I promised, and ask if any of you have any questions or responses to this side of the world of work.
So please, if anyone would like to add any idea or ask any question, we are ready to hear. You may speak in Arabic if you like.
Yes, please.
Hello?
Yeah, please.
Yes, if I may, my name is Duncan. So if I may, I'm just curious to also hear from the participants in terms of their experiences from the country, in terms of how the career guidance is happening in the country. So it will be really interesting to hear one or two people share the experience at a country level, so that in the spirit of learning from each other, so that if there's a country maybe is doing well, maybe we can pick one or two things from such country. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Duncan. Just to add to Mr. Duncan's point, are any of you making career information available to your clients, to your target group? Is there any system within your country where you're able to do this?
أستاذة نجلة، أستاذة ابتسام.
لا شكرا.
No, thank you.
Okay, let me go on further. There are lots of information and models and worksheets and so on in your lecture notes. So even, as I said, even after this course is over, when you have more time perhaps and you have more questions, if you do, please feel free. I'm sure George and will also agree that we will be available to work with you if there are questions in the future as well. Yeah? So two main categories of information: career information, 5 questions. Now comes educational information. Yeah, I touched on this earlier on, but let's see what this means actually. Now, when we say educational information, see, career path rests upon an educational path as prescribed by the educational system of a country. See, it's the path to a career is prescribed by a country. It may be that in one country, the architecture course is 5 years long. In another country, it may be 4 years long with 1 year of apprenticeship. Yeah. In another country, it might be that medicine is divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is the general practitioner. Part 2 is a specialization, and so on. Yeah. So there is a system within a country. And you will be surprised, many of your clients are not aware of this system. Let me go a little further forward. It's vital that career guidance helps the young person understand the educational structure of his or her country. Part of career guidance is to work out in your country what is the pathways, what is the educational structure. So if you take this one, okay, this is just a general path. Let's say the student is in high school. The end of high school, one option to this student in this country is to go to the vocational training, skills training. Another option may be to go to pre-university, higher secondary, pre-university. Yeah? Pathway 1, pathway 2. For this pathway, it might be that from vocational training, he or she can go straight into a career after 4 or 5 years of training. This is one path in this country. Yeah? Another path is after vocational training, you can come into higher secondary, and from higher secondary, you can go to a bachelor's degree. From bachelor's degree, you can go back to vocational training if you want, and from there, you can go and enter your career. This is another path. From here, 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 and here. Right? Yet another path. After graduation, you can do a postgraduate diploma. Yeah? Or you can, instead of diploma, you can go directly to another master's degree. Yes. And from there, you can go into a career. Yes. Or it could be that from post-graduation, you then do a postgraduate diploma and then go back into a career path. Yeah. Or for another career, it might be that you need to do high school, higher secondary, graduation, post-graduation, and this doctoral degree. And from there, you can do a diploma and go on to your career. This is what I mean when I say there is an educational structure. Yeah. In some countries, it may not be possible for a person to come back into university track from a vocational track. In India, for example, if you have entered the vocational pathway, you have to continue with the vocational pathway all the way through. Or come back and start from zero here. Yeah. This is very vital information for students to know before they jump into a path. Yeah. Some key units of education information that will be passed on. What are some key units? One is qualifications. I'll discuss this in more detail just now. Qualifications, eligibility, recognition, and sources of career and labor market information. In our career guidance system, these are points we need to cover. What does it mean? When we say qualifications, by and large, in most educational systems, what do qualifications mean? Taking up a course and studying the contents of that course. You're required to formally enter a course and study the contents of that course. Then you need to face an examination that tests you. Part of qualifying is to prove that I have taken the course and I know and I have the knowledge and the skills. So facing an examination. Completing other requirements of that course, like an internship, an apprenticeship, or a licensing examination. Yeah, this is what leads to a certificate, a diploma, or a degree that tells the world that such and such a person is a qualified commercial artist because he took a course, did the exam, fulfilled all the other requirements. Right now, a student doesn't know this. Should I do an internship or an apprenticeship? Is there a licensing requirement? That's what cards like this, the cards which I showed you earlier on, cards like this, when they have a chance to see it or they see it on the internet or something, that information is there for them to learn. Yeah. Now, qualifications, broadly speaking, there are levels and types of qualifications. Certificate is perhaps usually they are less theoretical and more practical. They're designed to be completed in a shorter duration of time, usually. Yes, this is what a certificate. So one type of qualification is a certificate. Another type of qualification is a diploma. A diploma is usually higher than a certificate. It's usually longer, and it usually has more theory than a certificate course. But usually, certificate and diploma are on the skills side, where you're learning how to do the job. Yeah. Then you have the degrees. Yeah. The highest level of qualifications usually is a degree. It's usually offered by the university. Yeah. Degrees are not offered outside a university system, and there could be the bachelor's level, the master's level, and the doctorate level. Now, these certificates and diplomas could also be offered at a higher level. So you could say that I have a master's degree in psychology, master's degree, you're already here, and I'm doing a postgraduate certificate in career guidance. So those combinations, being able to help a young person say, okay, I'm going into the university, but on this side, I'm also going to be doing these other shorter certificates or diplomas, so that when I come out of the university, I have my degree and I have all these skills-related qualifications. So I'm studying accountancy, for example, and I'm doing a bachelor's degree in accounts. But on this side, I'm also learning Oracle, which is a software that works with accountants use. I'm also learning this particular account management software. Yeah, like this. So blending degrees and diplomas is the safest qualification advice that we can give to our young people. Yeah. So qualifications is one side of it. This whole controversy that's there between degree and vocational courses. Yeah, in my country and in many other emerging economies, vocational courses, TVET kind of skills courses are thought of as being lower than the university. I have a university degree means I have a much higher level of social acceptance and prestige than if I say I have a TVET diploma. Yeah, now this is something that we must take up in our career guidance, because a course may be theoretical, practical, or a blend of both. Vocational courses are more practical, and the main objective is to ensure that the student learns how to do the job. Degree courses, degree programs are more theoretical. They are university type of courses. Right. Now, a professional degree may prepare a student for a particular career. Yes, so that means if you've taken a bachelor's degree in library science, for example, you're learning library science as your qualification, or medicine or law. Also be a non-professional degree, right? So supposing you have a bachelor's degree in chemistry, botany, and zoology, these are not taking you into a profession. These are giving you the foundation to deepen your knowledge of a subject. On this broad foundation, you build your specific specializations. Yeah, so degrees usually are divided into professional and non-professional. Yeah. Vocational courses are usually part of the TVET system. University courses are part of the university system. In some cultures, vocational courses are attributed lower prestige than degree, and vocational courses, we say they are blue-collar professions, yeah, whereas university is white-collar. Big distinction exists in many of our cultures, and in our mind, the belief is that university, I must go to university, I must get a university degree. But the point we miss, and this is something that is our duty as career counselors, is career education should help students and their families understand that it's all right to be not academically inclined. It might be that I'm a person who doesn't really like to read all these big volumes of textbooks. I'm not the academic type. I'm a practical type. So if the practical type is forced into going into an academic pathway, he or she will suffer, probably not do as well as she can. So our duty is to help families understand that those who are not academically oriented, or those who would like to begin earning quickly, it might also be that you have a family whom you're counseling who needs to earn quickly. They should consider vocational courses. And when you look at the labor market, Mr. George might have pointed it out to you already, the biggest demand in any labor market anywhere in the world is not for university degree graduates. We have thousands and thousands of university graduates who are unemployed, who do not have a job, because in their mind, they think working with their hands is not prestigious. Yeah. But the demand in the market, in the labor market, is for the diploma holders, for the TVET students. You see? So it could be that somebody enjoys academic work. That person could consider a degree. Or it could also be, in part of our counseling is to say, look, your son or your daughter is going to be much more effective in the TVET system, in the technical vocational educational system. Yeah? Making this distinction is very urgently required in many of our countries. Then comes the question of eligibility. Yeah? Very quickly now. Most courses have eligibility criteria. What is eligibility? Eligibility is that you should have finished this step in your education before you can take the next step. All courses require achievements up to a certain level in order to apply for a certain course. Okay? Now, something for you to know and become aware of in your country, the system in your country is, do you have to study certain subjects before you can enter into that into the next step? For example, in the Indian system, if you have dropped biology at your high school level, then all the biology courses, genetics, stem cell research, biochemistry, pathology, all of these you are not eligible for anymore in this country. Yeah. So one of the problems we have is young people, they come and families will tell us that we are not planning to study medicine. We are not thinking of medicine for my son. And therefore, we've dropped biology. And instead of biology, he's doing electronics or computer science or something. Yeah. Now, what this means is, thinking that biology is only related to medicine, they have wiped out all the life science type of careers. Are you getting it? So therefore, for us to counsel our clients and say, look, this is the subject that supposing you have dropped biology and later on you want to become a landscape designer, cannot, because you don't have the biology that you should have had earlier on in your courses. So what are the subject eligibilities for your country? So the same point here, a student who has dropped a set of subjects at an earlier stage may find at the later stage that she's not eligible to enter a certain course that leads to her career. So eligibility, we as counselors, knowing what is the eligibility is so important. Yeah. Right. The other thing that's coming up very much in the world of career guidance is this thing of recognition. Yeah, today, the borders have become very loose, and the question that comes up is, if another country is offering a course in my country, will my country recognize that qualification? Yes. And today, I mean, education today is big money, isn't it? It's huge course fees are charged. But is that course recognized in your country? It's important to ensure that the certificate, diploma, or degree that a student registers for is widely recognized. Yeah. At the lowest level, the award may only be recognized by the institution that awards it. Yeah. If you came to me and you did my career guidance course, one type of course is only recognized by me, my organization. So it's my signature at the bottom. Yeah. Another level, it might be recognized within a particular region. If you look at the United States, certain qualifications are not recognized in another state within the same country. For us to learn this for ourselves. A good certificate, diploma, or degree is recognized at the country level, checked and evaluated by an accreditation board in that country, and globally recognized. This is where we want our children to enter. It's recognized in Kuwait. Oh, it's also recognized in England and Germany, and it's that level of course. Because there are lots and lots of courses today where people come in and they teach you Java programming, they teach you Flash animation, etc. Great, you learn it. But can you use that certificate for your promotions? Can you use that certificate for you to develop yourself? Documenting this is part of our duty as career guidance. Now, where are the sources for all this? Yeah, where do we get this information? Yeah, it could be offered by the state employment services. Perhaps George has mentioned this to you already. Now, not all countries have a reliable and accurate system in place at the state level. Not in India, there is no reliable information. Yeah? So if you're setting up a full career guidance program in your country, this would be one of your tasks. Yeah? To make a reliable and accurate system. So often it's up to the career counselor to collate and manage career information. Yeah? The daily newspapers, reading the daily newspapers is really, really insightful. It might be that a new course has been introduced. It might be that an old course requires a new eligibility criteria. Yeah, magazines, college information, collecting college prospectuses, internet, of course, there's huge information there. Government departments of education or labor, something that I do when I'm invited to a country to set up a career guidance system is to ensure that in the working group, there is somebody from the Ministry of Education and somebody from the Ministry of Labor, because these are the ones who make the policy decisions. So if you're going to set up a group that's developing career guidance program for you, make sure there's somebody from education and somebody from labor or equivalents of that in your core group. They are the ones who will say, this is the eligibility, this is the criteria that our country has formulated. There are study reports by many professional bodies. Every year, the International Labour Organization publishes something called the Decent Work Report. Yeah, there is the World of Work report published by the ILO. Yeah, free, it's there on the internet every year. When you go and read it, your country will be in that report. Yes, and if you go to Bahrain or Oman, in the report, you'll see, okay, these are the labor market trends. This is what is going on in my country. And these are very sound, very well-researched reports which are available for you. If you need to know more, then get in touch with us and I'll send you the links to these reports. Yeah. Something else that's very helpful for young people to learn about, to widen their knowledge is the idea of a careers fair. This is something easy to organize that you can run in your institution. So what is a career fair? It's an opportunity for career aspirants to meet professionals face to face. Remember, we want them to learn about a career before they make a career commitment. Yeah. So meeting professionals, this is their chance. So in your career fair, you can have an accountant, you can have a geologist, an oil person, computer person, and the chance is there for young people to meet. Ideally, we should look for lesser known careers, because the well-known careers, already the pathway is jam-packed. But lesser known careers, yeah, for which the market is just opening. Presenting that to our young people, remember, they are going to be entering the market 3 or 4 years afterwards. By then, this lesser known career might have got. Yeah? So getting them to widen, the careers fair widens their exposure to the world of work. The speakers could become role models when they meet someone who says, I started with, in one room with just me and nobody else to help me, and I've grown into such a big institution, such a big factory. Would be inspirational for them. It brings career and educational information together. Yeah. In your in your notes, I've given a form on how do you organize a careers fair. If you look at it, everything you need is there. The methodology, the templates for the letters that you can send to speakers, all that is there. A very ideal participant in a careers fair is the parent community of your institution. If you take your institution, just there would be at least 15 or 20 professions. And parents are very committed to their own children's institute, isn't it? Whether it's a college or a school. So bringing them as the speakers in a careers fair, I have found to be really, really dynamic. They give a lot, they bring different wonderful things to see, and so, yeah. Okay. Something here to be noted for us is this point. When you run a careers fair, sometimes it just becomes an entertainment for the students. They sit there and they listen, and after the fair is over, they forgot. So I used my 5-question framework. That means if you're listening to a nanotechnologist, you should keep this 5-question framework in your notes and say, what is the career name, definition, task, potential, and career. You should ask the speaker these questions. Yeah, and then we've also really optimizing this is after the fair is over, students meet again in their classroom, and all of them share with each other the 5-question answers that they have got for archaeology, anthropology, commercial art. Yeah. Then it becomes learning. Otherwise, it's this very nice PowerPoint that the architect presented. PowerPoint is over. I come back to my class, forgot. Yeah, so it's a learning. Yeah, and this template I've provided you the template in your resources section in your notes. Yeah. Now, very quickly, we're almost at the end. The skills part of it. Here I have a few illustrations of worksheets that you could adapt for your country. Yeah. Let me bring. Sorry, I'll go quickly. Yeah. So now I'd like to show you worksheets that's coming in the next slide. This is something that we use a lot. See, there are these learning cards. And you can see over here 2 kinds of information, career information, educational information. This is given to the students. There's all the information they need is here at the back. And they have a worksheet separately. I'll show it to you just now. So in a small group, one group will discuss what is eligibility using this card. Yeah. And they write it down into their worksheet. And then when they get back together, here are some samples. See, this is a worksheet. This is there in your notes. This is a worksheet on career information. Here, this is an Indian one. Here you have, these are common words in our country. Common entrance test, IIT, MBA, CLAT, CAT, NIFT. These are all words. And these are given in the learning card. So when they discuss it, they look at the card and they say, oh, CLAT means Common Law Aptitude Test, and so on and so on. So they write it here. Yeah. Career definition, same kind of cards, and then they choose a career. They choose architect or MBA, whatever, and they make the career path in that discussion that they have. And the support for all of this is these cards. Yeah. It's easy to make, costs very low cost, and they learn a lot. Then when they come together, this group will share with this group, and this group will share with this group. So this career learning becomes possible. Here you have educational information. This is a quiz. Sunita dropped biology at class 12, so she cannot take up a course in biotechnology for further studies. True or false? Raj has not taken computer science at class. This is Indian, etc. So you can make a quiz like this. Then another one, what is a certificate? What is a diploma? What is a degree? You've spoken to them about it. You've given them a learning card. They discuss it amongst themselves and they come back with the answers. Yeah. What is the meaning of eligibility? Select any 2 careers that you're interested in and get the following information. Yeah. These are examples. It's there in your worksheet. You can, in your notes, you can change. This is what I showed you just now, these learning cards. have a look at it in your...
أنا بالنسبة لي الحين واضحة إنه أنا راجع خطتي وأضبطها بناء على الدوكيومنتس اللي تم دمجهم بالطريقة السليمة. إنزين.
Yeah. Okay. Now coming to the another worksheet. I remember I said that educational milestones, helping your client know these are the steps and stages in my country. Very, very important. And here is an example. It's there in your notes here. So let me go on. Here is an example. This is the Sri Lankan milestones. In Sri Lanka, after grade 8, you can go into basic vet, vocational training, and it's possible in that country. Or from grade 8, you can go to grade 11 and come out and do your technical training. Or you can go on to grade 13, and from grade 13, you can come back to this level of qualification, or you can go to this level. And in the Sri Lankan system, if you followed the VET pathway, the vocational training pathway, up to this level, up to level 4, 5, or 6, or 7, then you can go back to the university. Now, this is the information that you have. This is the blank worksheet. So in your discussion with your student, this is Sri Lanka. Huh? We have to develop something for Oman or Kuwait or Saudi Arabia separately. Yeah? So to put this down as a chart, which then they have and say, okay, I am here. I have the choice of going further, or I have the choice of coming out as per the Kuwaiti norms or the Saudi Arabian norms. Yeah? So this is an example of an educational milestone. So another example of a quiz. Read the questions below and select the correct answer, all related to your country. You can make these things, and then it gives them a chance to discuss it with you. And then when it's a true or false, it's a quiz. There's a lot of excitement in the classroom, and you can do a lot for teaching. Yeah. Okay, so our time is nearly over. These are the exercises for next time. Let me stop here now. We have 5 minutes. If there are questions or points, I'll be very happy to answer. I mean, I'm sure George also will add if there are any labor market type of clarifications that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Gideon, for your valuable information today. Really, I appreciate very well what you explained to us. For me, I learned a lot, really. I would to know if some of the participants want to ask any question or add any other idea. Please don't be shy and try to participate with us. You may speak, as we said before, we may speak in Arabic. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah, there's one question, I think, George.
Yes, thank you. I would like to talk I would like to tell you about the vocational education in Saudi Arabia. We have first industrial institute. It's as a high school.
Yes.
Yes, it's 3 years. Then they can go to the technical college.
Okay.
Yes, they can get a diploma. Maybe it's 2 years, 2 years and a half. Then also at the technical college, they can get a baccalaureate.
Okay.
Some of the students can go to the university. Some of them, no, they can't. They stop here because because the التخصصات it's not included in the university.
The specialty is not included at the university.
Right, right.
But we have here in each graduate, they can get a job. We have a department or the administration. They work for التوجيه المهني.
Career guidance.
Right, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And also we have a lot of short programs to improve the تطوير مهارات بعد التخرج وأثناء
To develop skills after.
Or inside the function, or on GT, on the job training, or on the job inside the factory or establishment.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So you have, I mean, I'm glad to hear that you have quite a clear system in Saudi Arabia. Now, if we bring this into career guidance, then our task is to help children understand this process when they're making their choices. Because it could be a big disappointment that they realize that, oh, I can't go to university because the path I have chosen is not there in the university. If they know that in the beginning, then there is a better choice-making process.
Okay, anyone wants to add or ask any question or any idea? Because the time is almost over. So I think it's time to stop for today and see you tomorrow at the same time with part 2 and the skills for understanding the world of work, you know. So we hope tomorrow will be more and more active. And at the same time, okay, so tomorrow at 9:30 Turan time, okay. So now we may say thank you for all, for you, Mr. Gideon, for Asma, for Duncan, for all participants, for translators, and for all. And see you tomorrow at 9:30. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Asma would want to add something?
No, thank you everyone and see you tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Bye.
مع السلامة. سلام للجميع. سلام للجميع.